Hello and welcome to the V8 Supercars America Series. I am Kane Kraft. Sorry for the delayed start here, guys. I am still having a heck of a time getting iRacing to update completely for me to get into the server here. Decided to go ahead and launch so that I could tell you guys exactly what was going on here, so you would know exactly why we're not live. I am on my third attempt here to download and install the new iRacing patch. For some reason, it's getting most of it done, just not all of it. So, it says I got just a few more minutes here till it launches. So, guess we'll just have to wait just a couple minutes here. Looking for some great action tonight here at Road Atlanta, one of my favorite tracks to watch. JD also not with us. Something must have happened there, but so no JD, no iRacing upload complete. So it's starting out like a pretty bad time here so far. So we'll see if we can get things going on the right path. Says I'm down to about 3 minutes to go. The race, of course, is already in effect now. The guys are definitely racing at this point. So since I ain't got no JD and I kind of got some time here while I'm waiting, I'll bring in Victor Tanaka to have a chat as he's happens to be around. How you doing today, Victor?
Hey, not too bad. How are you, Kane?
Doing good. Haven't seen you on the track this much this season.
Yeah, I've kind of taking a break really from all the official stuff, just focusing on a couple of leagues that I'm doing right now.
Well, that's okay. You still driving for the Simability guys, the Never Quit Racing guys?
Yeah, we're doing the V8 Cops series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been going great. That's really fun.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite series to watch for sure. It's been good every time so far. Of course, we got a big race coming up tomorrow night here in America. It's probably at this point
Yeah, me and Tony have been working hard with the setup and everything to get the car with a good pace for tomorrow.
Three minutes to go now. It's kind of holding at that 3-minute mark, bouncing between 3 minutes and 3 minutes 10 seconds. So I don't know. I hope it hurries up because I'm excited to watch this race.
I'm opening the session right now. If you want me to tell you what the grid is.
That sounds good. It won't even let me take a peek in to see what's going on. So iRacing today announced a big announcement. I was so excited. iRacing, a big announcement that they're bringing in dirt and have this beautiful video showing how they're going to the track and how they're working with Clint Boyer. I'm so excited. I'm probably the very first one to post on Facebook saying, "Oh my God, I'm so excited! I can't wait to kick your guys' butt on dirt." And then, just a few minutes ago, maybe an hour ago, it dawns on me what the date is. So, one disappointed iRacer here, because man, I was so looking forward to dirt racing. I can imagine the challenges that come in with doing dirt though are extremely huge. I imagine that would be probably the biggest undertaking ever to get dirt to work. But I did see where on Twitter somebody asked Clint Boyer if if he was in fact working with iRacing, and Clint Boyer said yes, he is in fact working with iRacing with his late model team. So you know, maybe it's like a double April Fool's joke. Like they're really doing it, but they want you to think that they're not, and so the jokers get joked. I don't know, but I'm still hopeful that one day we'll get dirt in iRacing.
Yeah, what I was seeing is that like the last thing they needed to make it possible is the dynamic track and the marbles and everything, and now that everything's going and running really good, you can go over the grass or over the dust. The tires will pick up the dust and you move them around. And yeah, since everything's working good, they now can have the ability to put dirt and actually make tracks and make the physics work with it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that would, you know, the dynamic tracks is definitely the start to get that done. But like the video says, it's kind of dirt track's kind of unique because the although you do have tire wear, the main thing that changes so much is the track, and so you're really having to completely change the way you develop things. I always wonder when they do that, would they open up like a separate iRacing, like iRacing Dirt, and then be a separate subscription package, or if it would all just be combined into the same iRacing, or how they would do that. But
I what I guess is they're just gonna make how we have road and oval just gonna be another bracket in iRacing, I think.
I don't know, because I wonder how you would do the sporting code and stuff like that with Dirt. Well, I
Yeah.
guess contact with other cars is still just as critical in Dirt, but I don't know. It's definitely an interesting concept to really think about.
You have a leader that I haven't seen. Have you ever heard of Jake Blackhall? I've
Yeah,
seen his name before, but
Jake has been racing with the V8 Supercars America Series this season. He won round one, which we didn't broadcast, but he did take out round one, so he's definitely fast. He's definitely got these V8 Supercars figured out for sure.
yeah, he qualified first and he's leading right now, opening up lap three.
All right, great news, guys. The update has completed, and it looks like the entire thing took this time. Making sure I don't have any. No, everything's green, so I'm good to go. I'm going to launch this thing and get you guys some action on screen here in just a minute. I didn't read the release notes for this patch to see what all they changed here, but word is that the Australian races will be on Australian servers, which I know is very big importance to the Australian V8 Supercar community. So if that is the case, that is a very good start to a great patch.
Yeah, even though me and Tony and all the American guys um, have a little disadvantage if we go to an Australian server, I still think it's just fair since 80% of the field is from Australia. There's no reason to the server anywhere else.
Yeah, on a Friday night, because there are more Americans, I can see it being on an American server. But man, on their Monday night races, when it's 20 Australian drivers and one European driver, it should definitely be on an Australian server. And now it is going to go back to that way because the pings have been pretty tough for those guys. And but I will say that it, well, it's just I'm glad to see that those guys won't get their server back. I do got some racing action up here. Let me get everything in line here real quick so that I can start showing you guys what's going on here.
I believe that from everybody who started, only Ryan had an incident and he's now in the pits. Not too sure if he's gonna keep going or not, but looks like everywhere else is still in the track. Who knows?
Alright guys, thank you for your patience today. I had no idea I'd have those issues getting this update in, but we are live now. Let's take you guys through the field as the ERA guys definitely topping out the charts so far. We've got Jake Blackhall up in that #1 spot. Ian Ford in second. Richard Aylward joining us today. Good to see Richard back in the V8 Supercars America Series here. Marlon McMullen back in fourth. Matt Stratford with us today. He'll be in fifth. Jason Hyde in sixth. Nigel Baines had a great race last week. He's in the seventh spot. Paul Gorell actually leading the points right now after 2 races complete here in the V8 Supercars America Series. He's back in eighth. Bo Catel's with us today. Good to see Bo with us. He's in ninth. Mitch McLeod's with us as well. Mitch is back in 10th. Zach Thomas in 11th. Tony Klusterman having a good race in 12th. Jason Quire in 13th. Michael Taliant, he always got such a tough name. Every broadcast he is in, everybody always stumbles on his name. But I say it Michael Talianic. Taliankich is how I always say it, but I have no idea how it really is. I imagine that J has got to be silent, but really no clue. So it looks like a tough race start for Michael Shelton, who is back in 15th. He's 1 lap down already. Car don't look too bad, so maybe just early race spin out or something. Maybe he had to pit already or something. He did pit for just over a minute, so maybe some early race contact or something for Ryan Shelton. Alright, so let's go check out the front of the field again since we've went down the field. We've got Ian Ford now out in front with Richard Aylward in second. Jake Blackhall back and forth. So Jake must have had something happen because he is not pit. And he does have some damage there, so I'm going to see if I can go back and find out what happened while I was going through the list there to Jake Blackhall.
Ooh. Right in the beginning of lap 7, going through the S's.
Alright, on replay here with these guys about a minute ago, so it might take a while to find it here, but there it is. Yeah, right after the S's, he just loses grip there and goes right into the concrete wall. Some pretty significant damage there to the right side of the car. We'll have to keep an eye on Jake, see how he kind of pulls through from that incident.
Yeah, that corner is the one corner on the track that if you're really pushing for the lap times, that's where, it's really risky to push, and because there's such a high curb there, and yeah, just jump over that curb as you get into gas. And if the car is not really set up for the bumps, it just keeps bouncing and bouncing. Pretty tough.
Now, these V8 Supercars are generally pretty tough, and we usually don't see too many meatball flags, but Jake apparently did get a meatball flag. He did hit it right on that front right wheel, so probably steering was probably a pretty big issue for Jake. So he is in the pits. Been in the pits for about a minute now. Biggest battle right now that I'm seeing, Bo Cattell, Nigel Baines, and Mitch McLeod. About four guys here, five maybe, all right in a row. Some great racing here mid-pack. It
Yeah,
all
and
starts
looks
with
like
Matt Stradford, looks like. Maybe Jason Hyde actually leading this little field. He's got almost a second over Matt Stradford, and Matt Stradford's got Nigel Baines, giving him some serious pressure. But Nigel's probably got the most pressure on him of all. He's got Bo Cattell right on his bumper.
and all that battling is allowing Zach, my teammate, to catch up to the pack too.
Yeah, that's true. And Zach, boy, he had a great race last week. Zach came home second place last week, so a great drive for Zach last week. This week, gaining some ground here as he's really catching up to Mitch McLeod and Bo Cattell. And man, that's going to be really exciting for Zach to get up here and be racing with Mitch McLeod, Bo Cattell, Nigel Baines. That's he'll be in some really good company.
Yeah, and anything happens, he's gonna be there to take the spots. As Nigel goes defensive into the S's. And Marlon McMullen is also at the bumper of Richard. Been a few laps, putting a lot of pressure on Richard right now. For second place.
Road Atlanta is probably one of Marlon McMullen's favorite tracks. Yeah, so definitely look to see him do well here today. But he's definitely got a tough crowd here. Ian Ford, Richard Elwood, and Nigel Baines, Bo Cattell, Mitch McLeod. Lots of tough competition here today.
Yeah, this is a really strong field. It's been a while since I haven't seen a field so strong, to be honest.
We are here at Atlanta Motor Speedway today. It is in Braselton, Georgia. Pit lane speed of 45 mile an hour. The guys may or may not have to go down the pit road today. Kind of depends on strategy. 12 turns here, 40 laps.
Ooh, three wide into the chicane. Oh no, he locked up. Oh, some little contact there to the chicane from the third spot.
Whoa, Nigel's around. A little bit of contact there from, well, was that Matt Stradford maybe?
That was Zach turning around.
Zach Thomas, yeah.
Damn, that was a chaos there. Oh, did you see that hairpin? 3 wide.
I'm gonna go back and take a look at that. Something happened with Matt there in the Henley mobile. He kind of had to slow down. The guys got past him, and I don't know, it kind of threw a little bit of confusion into the mix. And Nigel Baines getting the rough end of that. So Nigel taking this time to hit the pit lane, but Nigel's got some serious damage there. He might have been forced to pit for damage repair. It don't look like so. He's had a 10-second stop, 10.7 seconds. So he just probably elected at that moment to go ahead and take his pit stop to try to minimize the damage from the spin. Marlon has gotten around Richard Elwood Elward. And now that moves Marlin up into second place.
He just got it done on the back straight. Pretty good move.
Richard's really going to want to stick with him here. If he can just try to stay with Marlin, maybe Marlin might have a chance to reel in Ian Ford, and Richard can just follow him right along. I would say if he gets up there and starts racing with him, it's just going to slow him down that much more, and Ian Ford's got 7 seconds over him already.
Yeah, not only that, they can't afford to battle too much because Jason and Mitchell are just there, 2 seconds behind. All that chaos into the chicane allowed Tony to catch up to the pack too now. Tony's up to 8th place.
Yeah, Tony's got some competition there from Jason Quire. Or rather, who was that right behind Tony? My thing's not updating quite right here.
Yeah, Jason's behind Tony, but he's 3.5 seconds behind him right now.
Yeah, that was the wrong sim ability car. That was Zach Thomas, who had Matt Strafford coming up and around. Now, Tony, pretty good clean air for Tony. He is catching up to those guys. He's got Jason Quire back behind, but he's 4.7 seconds back there. That's going to be a tough road to hoe for Jaden to reel in that 5 seconds. But I look for Jason to definitely make gains. This is a long race, so he's definitely got the time to get it done. Paul Gorell, our points leader, back in 10th. He's just about 3 seconds back behind Jason Quire. Nigel Baines out of the pits. He, of course, just a quick pit stop there for Nigel, 10-second stop. So his pit stop is done and out of the way for the race, so he'll be green the rest of this run.
So Marlon opening up a bit of a gap here now on Richard.
Yeah, a full second now between he and Richard, so Marlon definitely pulling away from Richard, but not making any gains on Ian Ford up in that #1 spot. That gap was 7.7 seconds earlier. It's now up to 8 seconds, so Ian's definitely got the pace here.
Yeah, Marlon really needs some magic right now if he wants to do anything about Ian winning this race. But it's not like we haven't seen him doing before, right?
Yeah, I mean, Marlon has pulled some miraculous wins or comebacks. He's probably had more comeback stories than most other drivers in the series. Several times he's gotten, the bad luck in that first turn incident that's took him clear to the back of the field, and he's managed to catch up and still get podiums or great finishes from it. So we see that from a lot of drivers. Even Tony Klusterman's had some great races that started off real bad like that. Speaking of Tony, he's doing well today. He's about to catch up to his teammate Zach Thomas. He's got that gap down to 1.6 seconds. So Tony out in that clean air doing very well. Definitely making grounds on that mid-pack battle. Mitch McLeod working on Jason Hyde for that 4th spot. He's got about half a second gap between he and Jason. Pretty good strength of field here tonight since the race did split. A pretty low amount of drivers here, 15 drivers here in the top split tonight, but that really did well to increase the strength of field. Just over 3,500 here in the top split tonight.
some good solid points for the podium for sure. McLeod's having a look at Jason. Jason goes defensive. Keep that spot for now. Ooh,
Mitch definitely to the inside. It's going to be side by side here. The Hitlink vehicle gets just a little wide, catches just a little bit of that outside curb area, a little bit of dirt, and Mitch gets by pretty easy. Jason Hyde seems like he's really slowing now for some reason.
I think he just caught up. He got caught on the outside there, and that it's an off-camber corner. So the more the outside to go, the more it's gonna push you to the outside, and get a lot of bumps and dirt there. Really not good to be out there.
Mitch McLeod now 5.2 seconds from the car in front of him, which is Richard Elward in the SimWorks NZ Motor vehicle, NZ Motorsports vehicle, rather.
Looking back at the lap times here, it seems like Mitchell McLeod is the second fastest car. His fastest lap is faster than Marlon's fastest lap.
Yeah, by.
So, yeah,
by
let's see if he can get the pace back. Now that he got done with Jason, let's see if he's gonna unleash the pace now and chase for Richard. One thing about this V8 Supercars is that they're so tough to drive that if you're not at least 1 second a lap faster than the guy in front of you, you're not gonna get by unless he makes a major mistake. So sometimes you see one guy following the other guy, you think they're the same speed, but the guy behind could very well be faster.
Yeah, and this is a pretty clean series. The drivers really frown on contact, and the sportsmanship in this car is really pretty high. You don't see a lot of contact between cars. I mean, it has had its rough moments for sure, but so the guys really try to be clean and make sure their passes are clean. And so a lot of times you'll see guys run one right behind the other for sometimes the entire race. There's a couple races ago we seen Tony and I want to say, who was that? Brendan maybe, run for the entire race, bumper to bumper. It was pretty fun to watch, actually. So Zach Thomas, possibly.
Yeah, I think they ran together the whole race.
Zach Thomas, right on caught up to Matt Strafford now. So Zach looking to make some progress on that 6th spot. Tony right in that battle too. He's taken that gap down to just half a second, so Tony's going to be right there with his teammate. Those guys have left Jason Quire behind. Jason Quire now 4.1 seconds back. I guess Jason's gaining, actually. He was just a little bit further than that a few laps ago. And Paul Burrell is definitely gaining on Jason Quire up in that 9th spot. Paul now 2.2 seconds away from 9th position. So we'll keep an eye on Paul as he reels in his teammate, Jason Quire.
You gotta remember, because the race is so long, some of these guys might just be taking it easy just to make sure they finish the race. So really something you want to keep in mind in long races like this. Zach maybe got a run on Jason. No, he might stay behind. Tony's right up there too.
Yeah, that is probably the best battle we've got right now in this battle. Is we've got Matt Strafford Leading this little pack of three, we've got Zach Thomas back behind him in 7th, and Tony Klusterman has caught the pack. Tony's going to be back there in 8th, just patiently waiting for an opening to try to get around his teammate, Zach Thomas.
Yeah, another thing, Kane, about this car is that they don't have any ABS or traction control like the GT3 cars have, so it's a lot harder to make a dive down the inside safely. And yeah, you really have to be committed and really focused to make it work.
Yeah, the skill level of these drivers really has to be up on par to come in here and make passes safely, because these cars, like you say, there's no anti-lock brake system, there's no traction control. It's up to the driver to be real easy on that brake and know his car and know his braking points and everything to be able to get these moves done. And sometimes we see where they just don't get it quite right and catastrophe can happen, but usually these guys do pretty well. We see that they won't attempt it if they're not pretty confident about it.
Mitchell has been catching slowly Richard, but it seems like Richard picked up the pace a little bit this last lap. Pretty sure Richard's watching the relative box pretty closely right now.
Richard Elward, definitely a driver that has made some impressive gains in the last couple seasons. Really proud of Richard and the effort that he's put in and the gains that he's made in this simulator in the last couple seasons. I mean, to see Richard up here racing up in 3rd place, it's a great sight. He's really done well. He's on a great team, and I think that's helped him a little bit, not just with his confidence, but when you're on a good team like that, the help that you get with setups and the knowledge that you can gain from more veteran drivers it's crucial. I mean, it's definitely helps, and it shows with Richard Elward up here in 3rd place.
Yeah, it's definitely a major thing. I had a chat with Richard, and he said that his old team, none of the guys did V8 Supercars, so he didn't have anybody to share setups or to practice with them, tell them some pointers or anything like that. So now that he is in a big team and a lot of guys there doing V8 Supercars, it shows that that's all he needed, just a little bit of knowledge from the veterans and a good setup, and there he is.
Just checking out the comments from the guys in the YouTube channel. Sorry for the silence there, but was reading through some of the comments. Some of the users reminded me that it's real easy to get incidents here, off tracks especially, as you go through the S's and such here. So the incident limit definitely comes into play here at Road Atlanta. So that's one thing we want to keep an eye on, is these guys get that tire off into the dirt sometimes. Each one of those things counts, and there's a 17 incident limit and your race is over. So we see usually at least one driver throughout the race hit that limit and get disqualified.
Yeah, it's a really tough thing in iRacing. Some people agree, some people don't agree too much with it, but how it is, and you really have to watch out for it.
Some drivers wondering about, or not drivers, but viewers wondering about Marlon McMullen's fuel strategy. What might he do here tonight? if you fuel save just right, you can make it to the end. And Marlon has been known to make that attempt before. I think on the last one that was this close, he ran out about 20 feet before the finish line. His lap times are off quite a bit
Oh, Ian's in
compared
the
to
pits. Ian's in the pits.
Marlon is? Who is?
Ian Ford.
Oh yeah, Ian, our leader in the pits.
So it looks like he's not gonna try to go the full distance.
Yeah, Ian Ford, definitely not. I definitely would keep an eye on Marlon McMullen because Marlon is the one that I think everybody's concerned about going the full way. Ian,
Jason Hyde also just pitted last lap. So it looks like the pit stops are circling now.
okay, so Ian's fastest lap, a 121.5. Marlon's almost a full second off of that, so Marlon, I would say, is definitely taking it easy. He's definitely fuel saving, seeing if he can go the whole distance. Will that be enough? A full second, almost a full second each lap on 40 laps. That would be, you know, about a 40-second difference, not counting the slowdown time to get into pit lane and getting out of pit lane. I don't know.
This race is 55 minutes long, and I know from experience that this car only runs 55 minutes on a full tank of fuel.
As of now, Ian Ford is only 6.7 seconds back, and if Marlon is 1 second off pace, we should see Ian Ford catch back up to him pretty quickly. I would say within 10 or so laps. We are on lap 24 right now, so Ian Ford's definitely got time to reel in Marlon McMullen and regain that lead if Marlon does not pit. You know, things change so quickly here. Yeah, if you have to race harder than you thought you would, if that race between he and Richard Aylward at the beginning stages of the race, if he had to burn more fuel than what he was expecting to get by Richard, that could really come to play, especially on the final laps here. He might find out he don't have enough fuel to get to the end.
Zach still riding Matt Strafford's bumper. And remember, the best way of saving fuel is behind the draft. So that could be what Zach is doing right now, just saving fuel behind Matt Strafford. Oh, and Jason Quire is right there too. Jason has caught up to the pack. Gonna be putting some pressure on Tony Kluserman real shortly.
Yeah, great run from Jason Quire. Yeah, gaining 5 seconds in the last few laps to catch up to Tony Klusterman. So, if I'm a driver and I see somebody catch up from 5 seconds back, I'm getting kind of worried. I mean, I would fully expect for Jason to get up here to Tony and be able to get around him, because he's gained 5 seconds in the last probably 7-8 laps or so. So we know Jason's definitely got that faster car. He's gained this whole pack, so there's, with as many laps as left, Jason Quire could end up getting up there into 5th position or so.
Yeah, let's see how hard the guys make it for him to get through.
Checking on Ian Ford now, 3.5 seconds. Boy, I was way off on my time earlier, guys. Sorry about that when I said 6.6 seconds. That was how far he was from the car in front of him, not from Marlon. There is 3.3 seconds from Ian to Mitchell McLeod, and then another 3.5 seconds from Mitchell to Richard, and then 7 seconds from Richard on up to Marlon. So he definitely has quite a ways to go.
Ian is flying right now. He just did a 21.1, which is 5 tenths quicker than his qualifying lap, and it's 2 tenths quicker than the pole lap from Jake Black Hall. Yeah, Ian hasn't given up yet. He's definitely looking for the win.
Yeah, Ian, definitely a smart driver. He probably knew coming into this race his options, and he probably knew if he pit, he really had to run hard that last half. But 40 laps on these tires, that's gotta be tough on the tires, because with a 10-second stop, really all he was able to do is just get some fuel. So being 27 laps on these tires, it's got to be tough to be running these kinds of laps, but he's doing it. The fastest lap so
He's
far.
right on the edge of the distance too, because he is 12 seconds behind Marlon. We have 14 laps to go, and he's a second faster, so he needs that 1 second faster all the way to the end to be able to catch up to Marlon. That is, of course, if he can get by Mitchell and Richard quickly, not lose too much time.
The closest battle on the track now. Still this battle here with Jason Quire. He's right on the bumper of Tony Klusterman, trying his best to find a way by. Tony, definitely a veteran driver here, definitely skilled. Although he is a nice guy driver, he's not going to make it extremely hard for Jason. But, I mean, if Jason gets up there, and if he's up there at his quarter panel, Tony is not going to make Jason have to wreck to get by.
Yeah, and Jason's making sure Tony's seeing him in his mirrors. He's all the way over Tony mirrors right now. Jason's definitely saving fuel. He's lifting pretty far from the braking zone there.
Yeah, word is Marlon did the full race yesterday and did one stint without pitting and was able to get victory yesterday. And so a lot of drivers probably seen that. I expect several drivers will try to get this done in one stop. And then probably see even more drivers come Monday night's race in Australia. They'll probably even more will do it.
Ian just made it around Mitchell McLeod, so he's up to third now. Mitchell made it really easy for him.
Yeah, and just about 10.5 seconds from Marlon McMullen. So Ian Ford definitely making some serious ground. That's going to put him, if he's able to maintain, like you say, that 1 second per lap, he could gain him just before the end of this race. He could be right there giving Marlon a run for his money.
Yeah, but we also have to remember that if Marlon has saved enough, he's still going to have some left at the end to push. So he could probably have more pace than he's showing right now, and if he still has the fuel, he can easily...
That's got to be the hardest part about running a different strategy. Fuel saving when the car that's chasing you isn't. That's got to be so hard to see him coming in your relative and see that he's a second faster, but still stick to that 122 range. Marlon's running an average in the 122.1s, 122.2s, so he to be able to stick in that range, knowing you've got a faster driver coming up, that's got to be probably the most challenging part of this race for Marlon, is to not overdo it.
Yeah, and also when you have been such a consistent pace like he has the whole race, if he tries to speed up out of nowhere, it's very likely to make a mistake, so gotta watch out for that too.
So Jason Quire had little problem gaining that 4.5 seconds to catch up to this group, but now he's really struggling to actually catch up to Tony. He's been kind of close, about a half a second away, But now starting to fall off just a little bit. Maybe he used up just a little bit too much trying to catch up, and maybe his fuel numbers now in jeopardy, and so he's really having to slow off a pace.
Ian Ford still flying. Now he's catching up to Richard. Did get by him in this lap.
Just noticed
Richard
Bo
cooperates.
Cattell is out 7 laps down, so something happened to Bo 7 laps ago that took him out of the race. Sorry I missed that one, guys. Maybe we'll be able to catch it in the post-race show.
Yeah, he got involved in that early incident on the race, and yeah, he was trying to catch up since then. Ian's around Richard. Richard also make it easy for him. So now he's free. He's free to chase Marlon, and he's only 9 seconds behind him.
Yeah, 10 seconds to go, 9 seconds behind. He's been gaining about a second a lap, so this is going to be a good finish, guys.
Definitely have a race. Not that we haven't had one so far, but that pack is still very closely together, and no positions have changed yet. Matt from Zach to Tony and Jason, still the same order. Still very close. It'll be interesting because once we get into the final laps of the race, I don't think they're gonna fuel save anymore, and they're just gonna go all the way. They're all gonna try to make that one extra spot.
Matt Strafford coming up on teammate Jason Hyde, who is a lap down. So these guys going to come up on some lap traffic here. Not sure what happened with Jason. Why he's a lap down? Something must have definitely happened there.
I was checking it. It seemed like his connection was bad as he crossed the line, and I've seen that happen before.
Yeah, I've seen it happen too.
Yeah, I think maybe he lost a lap going through the start-finish line because he didn't make any pit stops or anything. So, real shame when that happens. And Ian still 1 second faster than Marlon once again.
Yeah, 7.1 seconds is the gap between Ian Ford and Marlon McMullen. 7.0 now, so Ian definitely catching Marlon. But 9 laps to go. This is definitely going to be good. I mean, if you're a second faster, getting around isn't going to be a problem. I can't imagine being a second slower, Marlon being able to hold Ian up that much getting around. But if he has some reserves in the tank to be able to race him to the end, then that's where it could really get interesting.
Yeah, and he's definitely not gonna make it too easy like Richard and Mitchell did. Definitely gonna be an interesting finish.
So that battle has kind of split up a little bit back there. The Matt Strafford, Zach Thomas, Jason Quire, Tony Klierschman. Okay, so Jason Quire's got around Tony, looks like. Tony a full second back behind. Tony must have had a little slip up there that allowed Jason to get by. But 2.2 seconds now between Matt Strafford and Zach Thomas. So Matt definitely pulling away here. And then Jason Quire gaining on Zach Thomas like crazy. He took that second down quick. So Jason definitely picking up pace. Maybe he's he's got to his fuel numbers and able to pick up pace now that he's safe. So that'll definitely be a good one to watch. Mitch McLeod now really getting close to running down Richard Elward. He's got 8 laps to go and 1 second between the two. So as this race winds down, we're going to have a couple close battles here. It's going to be a really exciting finish, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be close. I was looking back. Tony Klusterman, he was too late on the brakes going down the chicane, and he locked up, and that's how Jason got by him. He actually almost hit Zach. Zach had to get out of the way. Pretty wild moment there.
Ryan Shelton back with us after having to take some serious time to get his car fixed. He is just 2 laps down now. It was showing 3 just a little bit ago. Now it's showing 2 laps down. I didn't realize Ryan was back in the race.
Yeah, he had an incident in lap 1. Very unfortunate. Man, look at Ian. Ian's last 5 laps have been within 2/10 of each other. He's definitely on the chase right now.
Zach Thomas looking to get a move done on Matt Strafford. Didn't work. I think it cost Zach a little bit of time there.
Jason let his teammate through, so Matt is 2 seconds in front of him now. And Jason is right as Zach's bumper now.
Zach really has a good closing rate on Matt for some of these turns, but Matt just has the greater speed out of the corner, and that's where he really starts to pull away from Zach. Let's check in on Ian Ford. 4 seconds to the leader, Marlon McMullen. With 6 laps to go, he's been gaining an average of a second a lap. So we will definitely, he definitely has time to get up there, get his #1 spot back. Will Marlon have enough fuel in the tank to race with him to the end, or is Marlon going to have to let him go? That's the big question.
Yeah, when you're in a chase like Ian is right now, you just do lap times that you wouldn't believe you could do. It happens to me sometimes when I'm chasing somebody, and lap times, begins to come, and you're like, I didn't know it was that fast. It's probably what Ian's thinking right now. He's doing qualifying laps, lap after lap.
Did Ian get tires?
Not sure. It was a pretty quick stop, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 10 point, let's see, it was 9.8 seconds. I don't think you can get tires in 9.8 seconds, can you?
No, I don't think so.
I think it takes around 14, maybe? So Marlon definitely is feeling the pressure now. He can see Ian coming up in the rearview mirror. He's been seeing him in the relative, just ticking that time down. 5 laps to go. Ian Ford is now 2.4 seconds back. Ian will catch Marlon. The question is, will Marlon have enough fuel to be able to race him to the end? And I don't believe he's going to.
I really wish we could know how much fuel Marlon has right now.
It's what adds to the suspense of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ian doing such a great job to catch up to Marlon here, running qualifying laps each and every lap, and making this distance up pretty quick, I would say. And he's going to have a chance when they get to the end of this thing. But will Marlon have enough fuel to kick it up that second? I don't know. He's still running down in the minute 22s. Back behind those guys, Mitch McLeod has now officially caught Richard Elward. He's within that half a second margin. So we're going to have a battle between Mitch McLeod and Richard Elward for this third spot, last podium spot for as we come into the last 4 laps here.
I think he took tires, because if it was that close, you know, you said 14 seconds, right? If it's that close, I'm pretty sure he would have waited 4 more seconds to get new tires. So probably did take tires. Yeah, because there's no way he can do 21s with 36 lap old tires. He's right there. Less than a second now.
Yeah, you're right.
3 laps to go.
0.7 seconds separate Ian Ford and Marlon McMullen. 3 laps to go. Man, I just don't think Marlon can do it. With 3 laps, I could see him holding off, you know, on a last lap charge, but 3 laps, there's no way he can have fuel to do 121s for those last 3 laps. Ian Ford will have no trouble at all finishing this out in the 121 range.
Got a pretty big run.
Yeah, we're going to find out
driving.
right now if Marlon is going to be able to race him or if he's just going to let him go by. Because you can't block a full second faster car. You can't hold him off and with defensive driving.
Ooh, Martin locked up. Martin locked up. Too late in the brakes. Yeah, Ian got it done.
Yeah, it looked like he went a little wide to give Ian room, and in doing so, kind of missed his braking marker a little bit. So that kind of answers the question there of if he was going to end up with enough fuel to race Ian to the finish. No, he's not going to have. So he's probably going to be lucky to get to the end.
Yeah, just one more lap. One more lap, and he could have probably gave Ian a little harder over time.
Checking back on these guys for the racing for that last podium position, Richard Elward doing a great job holding off Mitch McLeod. Mitch hasn't been able to gain any ground since he got up to that half-second mark. Richard really turned up the heat there and is holding Mitch back at that half-second. We'll go back just a little bit further, check on this Matt Strafford battle. Matt, he's got 5 seconds now back to Jason Quire, who has got around Zach Thomas now. Zach back in 8th, so even Tony's got by Zach. So something happened with Zach. He lost a couple positions there. He lost about a full 10 seconds, it looks like. So
He's clutching. He's probably really low on fuel right now, trying to make it to the end.
yeah, that sounds about right. So Zach Thomas fuel numbers not close enough. He's really trying to save on these last couple laps just to get to the finish line. And he is in 8th spot. He's got Paul Gorell 6.5 seconds back. Since Zach is seriously saving, will Paul be able to reel that in and get another spot? I don't know. Tony Klosterman.
More corners to Ian.
Tony Klushman doing a good job here. He's gaining on Jason Quire too for that 6th spot. So we are on the last lap here. Ian Ford has got around Marlon McMullen. Now Marlon letting him by a lap ago.
I just noted something, Kane. Mitchell started the race in 14th, second last, and he's up to 4th.
Yeah, that's a heck
Really
of a
good
drive.
race.
Yeah, good call. Having missed the start, I didn't get to see where these guys started the race at. But man, what a run from 14th to 4th. Great job, Mitch.
And a potential third. He can get done right now with Richard.
All right, so Ian Ford coming around the final turn for what had to have been a pretty stressful race to catch up, but he got it done. A great win there for Ian Ford. Marlon McMullen comes across in second after.
Oh, Richard ran out of fuel. Richard ran out of fuel. Mitchell got the third place.
Oh yeah, tough break for Richard Elward. He is going to be able to coast across, but Willie, yeah, he's got plenty of time. He's got 25 seconds back to Matt. So Mitch McLeod picks up that podium position right at the end as Richard Elward runs out of fuel. He does get across the line in fourth, though. Matt Strafford back in fifth. Looks like he is going to make it around. Jason Quire for sixth. Tony's going to get her done in seventh. Zach is one we were kind of worried about. He started saving a few laps to go. Looks like he is going to get that job done, but so close. Paul was able to reel in that 6 seconds on that final lap and almost was able to get that next position. So a great finish here today from these guys. What a run, man. That fuel saving definitely adds a lot of interesting, I don't know, it's just, definitely makes it a strategy game, don't it?
And it really shows. I'm pretty sure Marlon had as much pace as Ian, but both of them chose different strategies, and it was like Ian's was better.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I love the strategy races like that, where you see some guys running one strategy, some guys running another. Marlon kind of tipped his hat a little bit by running the same strategy yesterday, so we've seen a few more guys try it today. Some guys a little better at fuel saving than others.
But, I think everybody tried. I think everybody but Ian. I think Ian was the only one who actually pitted.
Yeah, and he was able to show what the better strategy was here today. Now, will that strategy work on Monday, where some of these guys have some really serious fuel-saving skill? I don't know who all's been running that Monday night series, but I know if you get drivers like John Emerson, Richard Hampstead in that race, those guys are serious at that fuel saving, and they can turn laps almost as fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's when you really want to see which strategy you want to do is really what fits best for you. Maybe Marlon didn't have as much pace as Ian if he went all out and pitted, so that's why he probably opted to not pitting. But Ian definitely knew that he could make it, and he did make it. 'Cause it's not easy. It's not easy running those 21 laps as he did, or over almost 20 laps straight. He did with 21, so definitely not an easy task.
Well, since we didn't have a pre-race show, I wasn't able to show you guys the points coming into this race. But before I show the finishing race points here, I will show you that coming into tonight's race, Paul Grill was in the number one spot, Jason Hyde in second, Tony Klusterman having a great season so far up in third, Mike Taliankich in fourth, Michael Cracknell in fifth, Jake Blackhall sixth, Chris D'Angelo seventh, David Terry eighth, and Marlon McMullen ninth, with Bud Zine rounding out the top 10 in points as they came in today's race. Today's race definitely shook things up a little bit, but a nice strength of field, going to be a pretty nice points haul for the winner here today. Sorry for the silence, guys. Getting ready to prepare for the post-race interviews here. Normally I've got JD that really enjoys talking, so I just let him talk during this part, and as I prepare to get these post-race interviews in, makes it a little more challenging whenever I don't have JD here. But I do want to thank you, Victor, for stepping in today. Was a lot of fun having you here with me.
My pleasure, sir.
Appreciate the time you took to jump in here and talk from a driver's perspective about Road Atlanta.
My pleasure. What a race we just had.
Yeah, really, man, these strategy races, I like them. I imagine that the drivers don't much like them so much. Everybody usually dislikes fuel saving races, but today, it could have went either way. You could fuel save or pit, and it was really tough call to see which was the smartest thing to do. So it came down to 2 laps, and yeah, that's gonna be very interesting come Monday night. You guys definitely don't want to miss Monday night's race on Race Spot because that's the way the strategy is going to play out is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, as a driver, we always want to be pushing the car, so saving fuel it's a little boring sometimes. But yeah, this pit lane is short enough that you can make it work. 'Cause some tracks the pit lane is so big that you just lose too much time and it's never worth pitting. So this one is right on the limit between both.
Alright guys, thanks for your patience. Let's go through the race results here. Ian Ford did finish the race in that number one spot with a good idea to take the pit and get the fuel and make it to the end without having to fuel save. Marlon Mullen in second. Mitch McLeod gets that third position right at the finish of the race. Richard Elward, some fuel problems get him relegated back into fourth, but still a great finish. I'm sure he's pretty happy with coming home fourth today at such a track, such a difficult track with such a tough field of drivers here today. Matt Strafford back in fifth. Jason Quire brings it home in sixth. Tony Klusterman in seventh. Zach Thomas finished back in eighth after running a few positions higher than that most of the day. Paul Gorell back in ninth. Nigel Baines with some uh, mid-race troubles relegates him back to the 10th spot. Michael Taliankich in 11th. Jason Hyde in 12th. Ryan Shelton will finish in 13th. Bo Cattell in 14th. And Jake Blackhall back in that 15th spot from starting on the pole and leading the race at the beginning. Not sure what happened to Jake, but oh yeah, we did get to see that. He lost control over the hill and took it into the wall. So a tough break for Jake Blackhall. He was definitely the car to beat here today.
Yeah, really a shame what happened to Jake. Really interesting to see what he could do. He definitely had the pace.
Alright, so let's bring in some drivers. This is the part I'm not all that great at. JD usually does so much better, but let's talk to the race winner, Ian Ford. Ian, welcome to the show. Looks like a great decision to go ahead and get the fuel so you don't even have to worry about it and you can run hard. It definitely paid off. It was definitely intense there for a little while, though.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. Just did one of those decisions just before the race, saw the temperature of the track, and I know that I'm not very nice to my rear tyres most of the time, so I just took the risk and made sure that I pitted, took the right amount of fuel, and just ran full flat from the start to finish. And Jake was going to do the same thing as me, except for he had a bit of a wild moment coming off the top of the roller coaster there, and actually hit the wall and got like 11 minutes of damage out of what I didn't think was a very hard contact. So a bit unlucky for him.
Yeah, it was. He was definitely smoking fast here today, so he'll definitely be one to watch come Monday night.
Yeah, certainly he'll be doing the early race, I think, because he'll be commentating the late race. But he's going to put most of his anger towards the Premier Series tonight at Sonoma and trying to get a decent lap there and make sure the car's perfectly sorted out for the races. But other than that, it was a fantastic finish. It would have been interesting if Marlon kept me behind for another lap or so because I was starting to lose the traction out of the slower corners. So it may have been a bit more nail edge, but yeah, it was fantastic to drive like through the field, and everyone sort of worked with me a bit. They didn't really put up a fight because they could see I was doing a different strategy with new tires. So yeah, bloody awesome to race these guys once again.
We did take tires in a pit stop.
Yeah, certainly I wouldn't have had no rear tires by about lap 25 if I didn't.
Yeah, we were struggling to find out if you actually did or not, because your pit stop was pretty quick.
Yeah, 9.1 second stop. I didn't think you could get tires that quick.
Yeah, you can. It was just one of those things that it hit the marks perfectly. I was on the limiter perfectly around the corner, so it was combination of factors. Got in and out of the pits nice and fast. Didn't come out in that battle pack with Stratty and Klisterman and all them boys, so that would have been pretty awful to come out in.
Well, Ian, it's great to see you back in the V8 Supercars America Series and in that number one spot to boot. So, a great job. A nice choice on the strategy. How do you think that's going to work on come Monday night? You think that same strategy might be the best way to go?
Fuel saving will work. Like I can fuel save pretty well, but it'll all depend on the weather really, because as I said, I'm not very good at keeping the tires in check at the rear. A lot of people in our team speak absolutely laugh at me when I try and say that I'm saving tires because it's not going to work at all. But yeah, if it's nice and hot on Monday night, might give it a swing again. But it all depends on how much the car improves between then and now. But yeah, I'll see how I go.
That's going to be an interesting watch, guys. Like I said earlier, come Monday night, that's not going to be a race you want to miss. Ian, thanks for joining us here today. It's a pleasure to see it in the series again, and like I say, coming out on top, that even just makes it that much better.
Yeah, no worries, guys. It's great to be back racing with you guys again. I'll be sure to put up the link for the broadcast so everyone can watch back the race. It was pretty good watching everyone try and strategize and try and be in the right place at the right time today.
Yeah, the strategy definitely made this race really exciting. Thanks, Ian. Let's bring in Marlon McMullen. Marlon finished second today with a fuel saving strategy that took him almost there, about 2 laps shy, with the hard charging Ian Ford coming up behind. So welcome, Marlon. Good second place finish on a good points day. So it's all is not lost today.
Yeah, g'day guys. Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I sort of think, in my opinion, the fuel saving's a little bit faster, but fortunately at the start of the race, I mean, I was hoping not to qualify too well because I wanted to sort of stay behind the guys to sort of draft them, sort of, not catch on what I was doing. But then, unfortunately, yeah, as I qualified behind Richard, I think he was fuel saving as well at the start, and he was saving a little bit more than I would have liked. So I tried to obviously save as much as I could behind him to try and make sure that I learned from yesterday that I would have all the fuel I needed towards the end. So I was done. I was already fuel saved by about lap 15, 20. But yeah, those 5 or 6 seconds I lost behind Richard before Ian pitted, unfortunately, was a little bit of the ultimate draw card at the end of the day. And yeah, Ian did a fantastic job getting through the traffic, and he made little to no errors. So it was always going to be a close finish. And yeah, there was another thing. It was pretty hot today, so I didn't expect it to be double the temperatures of what it was yesterday, and it's a lot harder to drive the tyres 40 laps through the race when it's about 44 degrees on track as well. So I'm pretty happy. You got to try these different things sometimes, and at the end of the day, it came down to a really good finish, which I was hoping, and hope everyone enjoyed it today.
Did you actually let him by there, Marlon, or you just got on the brakes too late?
I knew most reality he was going to get me no matter what. I mean, he had fresh tyres, he had everything that he needed, but I wasn't going to make it obviously as easy as I could. So I tried to brake a little bit later than I would have liked, but unfortunately I just went soaring off the track. So sometimes having those 20 something plus different tyres does change a little bit of the performance of the car. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was just happy to finish second. Considering where I qualified, which was pretty. I wasn't really happy after qualifying, and no, it was a good bounce back towards the end, and it was good to see some other guys out there today and doing pretty well as well with the fuel strategy. So, but yeah, from lap 1, that was just the strategy all day.
Well, Marlon, thanks for joining us again, and always good to see you here in the series. So appreciate your effort, and we'll see you next week. What track is next week, guys?
Sonoma.
Oh, it is Sonoma. Good. Guys will be all practice up for Sonoma from this weekend. That'll be an awesome race to watch next week.
Yeah, it's always a good track, Sonoma. It always brings up a few interesting variables. Oh, I reckon it's probably one of the most enjoyable tracks that we ever get to do
Richard.
around here. And I don't know, it always seems to produce really tight racing, Sonoma, and obviously you've got a few curves you've got to be careful of, and it's just a really good track. But hopefully we'll see if it's another fuel saver or pit stop or whatever it is. So yeah, but no, the last couple of weeks have been really enjoyable. So we'll bring on next week.
Yeah, I agree. Bring on next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks again, Marlon. Now we got Richard Elward. A great drive from Richard Elward. He's really looking great today. Last corner or so, run out of fuel and lost the podium, but a great effort on that strategy, Richard. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a good fun race, mate. The slower races, it's more to my pace, mate, so I come into play. But it was a good race, a good drive from Mitch. I think he come from the back of the field to save fuel through the back of the field. He deserved it. I expected to have a bit more fuel than him at the end, but it was the other way around. So well done to him. And I had to drive to a number, and there wasn't much more I could do about it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, when you're out, you're out, and he was doing a great job there. I made a comment that once he kind of caught you and got to that half-second mark, yeah, he wasn't gaining any more than that. He was really holding him off back there, and it was a lot of fun to watch that close racing back there. But yeah, you'll learn a little bit for the next one, and I'll bet you make it to the end on the next one.
Well, that sort of helped Mitch's cause out in a way, because he was able to sit in my draft there and save a little bit more fuel. So that worked a bit to his favour in the end. But as I said, he had to get to that position in the first place, which was a good job. Yeah, Marlon did a great job. I figured he was saving, and at the early part of the race when I was in the draft with the other guys, I was actually just managing to pull away from Marlon a bit, but I think he might have been setting his whole race up there, just hanging back, waiting to see what went on. And then he got his little flow going, and I couldn't battle with him. I was just happy to let him go and tried to sit on his tail for a while.
Yeah, that's really smart driving from you, Richard. Sometimes it's just better to let the guy go, and that's the fastest way to the finish, really. If you let the fastest guy through and you just follow him for a couple of laps, you're actually gaining an extra bit of time and saving more fuel.
Well, it was pretty clear he had a bit of pace on me, and at that point I think we'd opened up about a 3-second gap to the guys behind. I didn't want to get caught in a battle with Marlon and lose that gap and then be under pressure and not able to just drive my own race.
Well, you'll be happy to know that I just changed your team over finally to your correct team. It's showed Mad Cow for all the season so far, but I do have it changed now over to the correct team. So I think yours was the only one that was lacking, or one of the few that was lacking getting changed. I had changed it once before, but then everything got reset, so it's back to where it needs to be.
That's alright, Kane. I don't think I've even changed my helmet over yet if you go in and have a sneak-in car.
Have the cow helmet.
I always liked that cow livery. Was one of my favorites. But this SimWorks is definitely a great livery as well. My dog, obviously, being very excited to be in the broadcast today. She's outside, and there must be a bird or something that she's excited about. So we get to hear Luna. She's my big Great Pyrenees, and she has one of the loudest barks of any dogs I've ever heard. And usually she's pretty good, but today, yeah, she's crazy.
I think she's trying to say that Richard's livery is the best of the week.
Yes, she might be. She might be. That's what she's saying. Richard gets livery of the week for his SimWorks and Z Motorsports Holden. Richard,
yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you coming in and talking with us. Appreciate you coming to the Americas Series tonight for the race. No JD tonight. You guys just have to put up with me and Victor for the whole race today, but it was still a great race. A little bit of dramas at the start because I didn't get the update, just would not take. I had to do it 3 different times, but I did finally get in to see your guys' great race. Again, thanks so much.
No problems. Thanks to you guys for putting in and doing the broadcasts each week.
No sweat. We really enjoy it. Really enjoy watching you guys. And this series is just so much fun to watch. It really deserves to be broadcast. So that's why we're here every week, just because we enjoy it so much, and you guys deserve it so much.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Keep it up.
Well, we're going to move on to Tony Klusterman. Had a great race today, finishing 7th. Pretty close racing today, Tony. You right there, bumper to bumper again for like the whole race.
Yeah, second race in a row. It was a fuel saver tonight, Kane, and I'm not good at doing that, so I just parked myself behind some cars and followed around and tried to save some fuel. And near the end there, I started getting a little racy. I was right behind Zach there, and unfortunately, I probably made a move that I shouldn't have, and messed everybody up. And Jason Quire took advantage of that. Good for him. And then it was exciting for a few laps getting to the end. But overall, not a bad result. 7th start, 7th finish, so I can't complain.
I was wondering what happened to Zach there. I seen he went back in, but then he was fuel saving so hard there at the end. I thought maybe that the fuel saving is what got all those positions. We didn't catch that on the broadcast.
Oh, with Zach, he and Jason were fighting in the last corner, and Jason got by him. I got by him, and then he gave me a little push there at the I'm not sure which corner it was, but he tapped me and lost some time after that. So with 2 laps to go.
Ah, I see.
But overall, a good performance again. Top split, really good strength of field this week. So, and it sounds like there was some great racing up front as well.
There was. It was a really exciting race today. So that strategy really came into play really heavy today, and those really make it a lot of fun to watch. Thanks, Tony, for coming in and talking with us again. We always enjoy talking to you. Sorry for the absence of JD. I know he would have had some pretty inspiring words to say today, but no JD today. Not quite sure what happened.
Thanks a lot, Kane. Really appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. We'll see you next week.
See you, Tony. Thanks.
Good job, Tony.
Well, Victor, that brings a close to what was a pretty good race here for round 3 here at Road Atlanta. It's definitely going to make the things that the drivers learned here tonight. It's definitely going to make that next strength of field race on Monday night a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna shake up the field. It's really interesting. Let's see who's gonna opt to do what, because I'm pretty sure all the ERA guys are gonna pit, but as Marlon showed, it can also work out the other way around. So
I don't know. I wouldn't put my money on him pitting because it was so close that the field is just a little bit different on that Monday night show, and maybe those guys are a little bit better at fuel saving, and it might be a little bit closer.
They probably have more traffic to go through as well once they do pit. So yeah, they have to think about that too, because like I said, Ian got his passes pretty easily over Richard and Mitchell McLeod. And for example, if one of those guys were Marlon's teammates, they would definitely not made it so easy for Ian. So Ian would definitely lose a few seconds trying to pass them, and that's really big when you're talking those numbers so closely.
Yeah, I agree. So come Monday night on Race Spot TV, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So you guys ain't going to want to miss that one. You can find it on iRacing Live as well. RaceSpot TV will be broadcast now with Britton O'Brien, and I think Jason Blackhall is co-commentating that with him, so you won't see Jason in that final strength of field race. I guess he'll race the pre-race just before. I didn't realize that. I guess I hadn't watched any this season yet, but yeah, Jason definitely. I've seen some from last season. He's definitely a great commentator, so that's definitely a good addition to that show. I'm not gonna miss it come Monday, so you guys don't either. And don't forget that this weekend is a big weekend. V8 Supercars online premiere series is at Sonoma, so we'll be going live with that. Well, I guess that would be Sunday night for the Australians, and it's going to be very early Sunday morning for me. Saturday night, about 3 in the morning, so Sunday morning. And it's going to be an exciting one. Sonoma, these guys are always so close at Sonoma, and to have 40 of the best racers on that track is going to be absolutely intense. It is going to be here on iRacing Live as well, so you guys are not going to want to miss that. So if you happen to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning here in America, it's definitely going to be a race that you're going to want to watch. You won't get no sleep, but it'll be worth it. And
Yeah, me and Tony gonna have to stay awake to make the race tomorrow night. It's gonna be fun.
well, don't quote me on the start time at 3 in the morning, because I'm hearing that Australia is having a time zone change this weekend, so that's going to be pretty confusing to get that figured out exactly when we have to be there to watch. So, but it'll tell you up in I don't guess it will, since it's not an official race, but you can use the time zone converter to figure it out. I'm sure that those times will be available a little bit closer to race time. I want to thank all the guys for showing up tonight for this great race, and appreciate just the support that you guys give us throughout the season. And I want to thank all the viewers for showing up here at iRacing Live, at the V8's Online YouTube channel, wherever you're watching it. I appreciate it, and we will see you guys next week at Sonoma. That's one you're not going to want to miss either, because these guys are going to get some extra practice throughout the week, because they're going to race this big race over the weekend, and so they're going to be all practiced up come Monday night or come next Friday for the Sonoma race.
Yeah, JD better be back, because I'm gonna be out on the track, because I love that track.
It is a great track. I am almost certain he won't want to miss that one. So we will see you guys next Friday for the next V8 Supercars Americas series, but we'll see you even sooner than that, because we're going to see you this weekend for the V8 Supercars Online Premiere Series. Enjoy your weekend, guys. We'll see you soon.
How did I do, Kane?